Yee! All right, we are back. I'm gonna burn my lip off. Um, Good evening. Before I get into the message for today, I just want to share with you all that I had an encounter with God earlier today. And first off, before we even really fully get into it, we need to talk about the fact that we need to start asking people not if they're religious or if they believe in God or have they surrendered their life to Christ. Because I do believe that these things could be fabricated. You know, me personally, I'm going to start asking, when is the last time you had an encounter with Christ? When is the last time you felt the presence of God? Because these days it's not safe to ask, do you know the Lord? Yeah, I can just see it right now. That's just gonna be a question that folks gonna get real numb to. When's the last time you had an encounter? Yeah. So anyhow, because that'll take me on a whole different tangent. I wanted to share with you all that I did experience an encounter with God this rising, and it had been some time for me. I would say it's been maybe about a month or so. Who knows? Because it's not like I'm keeping track, but I do know sometimes he's like, do the work. You already know what you need to do. Do the last thing I told you to do until I tell you to do something else. So it's silent. You know, we in our heads overthinking quite a bit, but then there are times when we call out or when we're in need, and he meets us right where we're at. And so he met me right where I was at. In a moment where I was just praying over my week, just praying in general over the people in my life and whatnot. And so I was then told that, and it's funny, even last night there was a sermon I was listening to, and I can't even find it. It's so odd. Like, it hit the nail on the head, but I literally went back to try to send it to other people and I can't find it. So that's a bit odd, but nonetheless, when I went to discuss with all, let me be honest with you, I wasn't even in a place of praying to ask for something. I think I was really just in a space of honoring God for who he is. Even I was speaking with a friend the other day when we were talking about God being in the details and whatnot. So my prayer ultimately for this week was to, show me your Picasso. Like, paint this week as the greatest picture that I've ever seen thus far. Like, stand back and do your works. I'm going to stand back and let you do what it is you need to do, because I know you were working it all out. And I know that there's nothing that I will not encounter this week that you will not be there with me to endure it, So ultimately, I just really wanted to let him paint the picture for me this week. I'm not calling and asking for anything. I don't even want nothing, because I know he knows our needs, right? So anyways, fast forward to the fact that I was then told after prayer that this season, and also just recently in my life, that there's been a lot of lip service. There's been a lot of talking. There's been too much talking, if we're being honest. Funny, as I'm literally talking and doing the podcast. But he goes on to then mention that so much talking has been had that my word is no longer bond, and I was very heavy on that growing up. I knew that at the end of the day my word was important. It's all I had. So I I was steadfast with that. I made sure that everything that I said I was going to do, that I did, and so on and so forth. But lately, within the last 6 months to a year, I can admit that it's been shaky. It's been a little bit of rocky, and it'll be with small things, right? So then I also remember that there is another verse in the Bible where it mentions how, like, I would rather you not make any promises to me as opposed to promising me that you're going to do something and then you look like a fool for not doing it. Like, just don't say anything at all, and that's basically what I was told, where it's like, I haven't asked anything of you, but yet you feel the need to overcompensate. And now that you have set yourself up for failure with saying that you're going to do X, Y, and Z and then don't do it, I ultimately look like a fool, a straight up crazy person. And I don't like that. So it was just a point of him saying, I believe that if you're really going to watch what I do and trust that I've worked it all out and really be a witness, right? And that's correct, because I do believe that at some point in time, we do have to remember that if our words are as powerful as they say that they are, we shouldn't be doing much talking. And the things that we do choose to talk about should be quality, should have reverence, should really hold weight. Because word is bond, and he is the truth and the word and the way, and so on and so forth. So speaking of the truth, I then went and did more research, because I realized if I'm not even following through with what I'm saying, that makes me look like not only a liar and a fool, but it looks like I'm not being a good representative as to who God is and who Jesus sent us to be disciples, which is clearly where I'm failing at. Like, I am not being a good disciple out here saying one thing and doing another, and what's interesting about all of it is when it comes down to other people, I'm on it. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do something, right? When it comes down to other people, I hold that image very well of being an honest person, but within myself is where it really matters the most. And within myself, I have just been, and it doesn't look good, right? So that brings me to our verse for today, because I know that we are discussing again love for this month, and I went to think like, okay, well, if I'm not being truthful. And love is the truth, the way, as Christ is as well. And Christ is the Word, and the Word is with God, and the Word is God, right? Stay with me. I noticed that love is true. And I was not loving myself by being honest and just being mindful of the words that I speak. So our verse for tonight, forever, is coming out of 1 John. Now, I was all up and through John, like, this is not what it says. We're in 1 John. So we take out our Bibles. We're going to take out our Bibles and read 1 John verse 18. So 1 John 18 says, "My little children, let us not love in word," to the King James Version, "neither in tongue, but in deed and in truth." Deed. I'm not going to look it up. I can only tell you what I know off of what it is. To me, deed is a written agreement. If the truth is the word and the word, okay, that these things are written, right? It's what you can see and feel and believe. So when you go back, it says, let us not love in word. Words. They're just words. Neither in tongue. Didn't I say in the beginning of this, when you meet somebody and you ask them, do they know Christ? I could just be like, yeah, I know him. I pray every day. Ain't that what they be saying? Right. My little children, let us not love in word, neither in tongue, but in deed and in truth. No, it'll do you. That's 1 John chapter 3, verse 18. We have got to, and I'm not even going to say we, because I know I'm speaking about me if it applies. Hey, I'm right with you. But we have got to get back to really knowing and showing the true definition of love. People can say they love you. People can say a lot of things. People can just be talking about nothing just to hear themselves talk. But just as speaking and knowing the word, we have to actually show it in our actions. So, while I could ponder on this further, I really want to let that marinate, because that alone caused me to really look at self and say, man, how can I go out here and be such a, such a person of integrity and honesty, and just stand up all together when it comes down to other people, but I have failed my God. I have failed myself when I can't even follow through with my own words, making promises I can't keep, saying I'm going to do things that I don't even bother to think twice about when it just don't work out, 1 John 3:18.